Yes, this is the simplest and most profound technique for spiritual awakening, to discover who you truly are, to have self realization or enlightenment. And why do I say technique with air quotes? Because it's so simple that I don't even know if you can really call it a technique. Once you go deep enough into understanding what this is, you will discover that this is actually your true nature in itself. So let's get into it. Welcome if you're seeing me for the first time. My name is Ran Netcher. I'm a spiritual awakening mentor who went through a disruptive spiritual awakening journey and dark night of the soul. And I've helped hundreds of people after my own journey because I felt that's what I was called for. That's my higher purpose. So, why am I making this video? Because there are people who make this so complicated. It can be so beautiful and simple, and we get stuck into our heads. And of course, there is a place for complexity, there is a place for intellectualization and understanding, but that should not hold you back from seeing the profound and simple truth of who you are. So let's get back into simplicity and dive into this profound technique. So I call it BNL for short so that people can remember it. And for my students, actually, I try to make it visual in a way that they can remember it. I call it the big nose llama so that they can kind of remember this big nosed Himalayan animal, the llama, not like the Buddhist llama, right? Not that one, but you could use it for that too if that helps you remember. But these three words stand for something that can stay with you and can be practiced at any time. And even if you are in a very difficult moment, even if you find yourself stuck in your head and being drawn into very egoic qualities, this is what can help you free yourself in that moment and go deeper and deeper into your awareness. So let's discover these three letters B and L one by one. And I'm going to go in depth and help you practice it in a very practical, real way that I hope will really help you have a breakthrough uh, in this most simple path to discover who you are. So simple that it's called the pathless path. Okay, let's get to it right now. B and L, the very first letter, stands for breathe. Very, very simple. Breathe. And you have been breathing your whole life. Since you were born and until the moment that you leave this body, you will breathe. And actually, that is where the word spirit comes from, breath. Breathing is such a profound thing because it is what connects this body to spirit. This is what keeps you in this physical vessel through which you are experiencing this humanness. So when you don't just breathe like you've been breathing all your life, mostly unconsciously, but if you breathe in a very conscious way, paying attention to your breath, what it does is it grounds you into your body. It makes you so present in this moment, in this very edge of reality happening right now, so dynamic. And in this dynamic reality right now, in this moment, it's really hard to run away for your mind into the past and into the imagined future. The past is just memory, imprints of what happened combined with our interpretation of it, with our story of who am I, what I like, what I don't like. I, me, mine, this is like the keywords of the ego, the mantra of the ego, as I say. So combined with the past, I, me, mine creates a story of what has happened. And this is the primary blockage from seeing who you are if you hold on to that, right? So when you breathe consciously, you become so grounded in this moment, in your body, which is always anchored in the present moment. So much so that you cannot fly off into fantasy land. And that forms the very first letter of this technique, B. Breathe. And this will already take you so far, even if you just practice breathing, because that's why there are so many breathing techniques, right? So much breath work practices of all kinds that help spiritually, including pranayama, which is ancient. And it's a really deep exploration and control of your breath. Prana, which is not just breath but your life force. Yama is controlling that, which is how you can control your mind, because they are very deeply linked. Your consciousness, your mind, your breath, all of them are very deeply interlinked. So by starting with the very first step of breathe, you set yourself up to do the next thing, which is N, very easily. And that next letter stands for notice. And I'm not talking about, oh, you got a notice in your mail or whatever. I am talking about paying attention. And I say notice very particularly because you are noticing what is here. Breathe already starts to get you to notice your body, notice the present moment, notice where you are, what is here, what's happening now, right? Breathe, and then you notice this present moment so deeply as you can. And if you can't do that, you notice what's happening in the mind. You notice your thought. Notice what is the mind grasping onto. Because the mind has this habit of holding on to something. So you notice it. It's not even an action. Breathing, again, I want to emphasize, this is not really a technique. That's why I use air quotes, right? Because this is something so natural to you. To notice is to bring awareness. And you are awareness. This is your true nature. And it's not something special to you for you to notice, like, oh, what is that? Right? You already have this natural way that your awareness just is aware. Awareness is just being itself. So, noticing is actually a little trick to get you back into your awareness, into who you already are, what you already are, right? So, notice the subtleties here. And, it can be used in a very crude form, like, oh, I'm going to breathe. Oh, I'm going to notice, right? But as you do this, you'll realize you are just coming back to the natural faculties of your innermost being. And you're just doing it in a conscious way that helps you deepen your already present being. And I know all these words start becoming more and more abstract, but stay with me here, and we'll get to the next step. After breathe, notice. What we do is let go. Simply let go. And again, this is also not an action. This is an action, which is grasping. And this is what our ego mind is always doing. It grasps everything. It's like, I like this so much. I want to hold on to it as long as I can because I like it. Or I dislike this concept, so I have to like be obsessed with, pushing it away so much. So it's a kind of holding on, even if it's like aversion or desire. Desire is very obvious that you're holding on to something desirously, a concept, a thing, a person, an idea, a story basically of any kind, right? You're holding on, and sometimes it's very overt and conscious and noticeable. Sometimes it's subconscious. It's hard to notice. It's something that is lurking at the back of your mind. That is why, notice comes first. It also kind of expands your awareness, brightens the light of your awareness to see what's in the shadows too. And once you notice that, and then you can that is where I'm grasping on to something. That is where this ego mind is obsessed with something in particular. And as I was saying, even if it's aversion, even if it's kind of a fear or a disgust towards something, or something where you just don't want to experience that thing, it is still a grasping of the opposite of what you are trying to avoid, right? So it could be a fear which is constantly running in your mind. Oh, what if that happens? So you're trying to avoid that. So you're indirectly grasping the avoidance of it, you see. So in any case, the action that our ego mind always takes is grasping, grasping, grasping. So we are countering that action with what you could call this as a de-action. I don't know if that's a word. Or it's not an inaction, which means just staying inert. It's an unaction, if you will, or a de-action, which is simply stopping that holding on, which is like just okay, relax. Whew, you've been holding on so tightly. Once you actually stop and let go, you're like, why didn't I do this before? Right? So it actually gives you like a relief from this obsession of the mind, which is actually your awareness being limited to one thing. It kind of like makes your awareness smaller and smaller and smaller, which actually becomes the thing that you trap yourself into. You are an unlimited being. You are eternal. You are so vast. And this human consciousness can be so small when you hold on to it. It just occupies your entire being and you forget who you are. Just by focusing on one thought or idea so strongly, all the stories that come with that thing just kind of occupy your consciousness with I, me, mine, and all the hundreds of little stories that come with that. Oh, what if this happens? But what if something else happens? And it just goes on and on. So much so that you forget your divinity. You forget the essence of who you are in that moment. Even if you have had realizations or samadhis, it can just take you into this deep unreality where you can essentially fool yourself, which is also a beautiful way of experiencing humanity, right? You can essentially fool yourself into this identity. But when you're ready to wake up from that, you're like, okay. You notice that you are stuck in the mind. So what you do, you breathe, you notice, and you let go. And this practice, practically what you can do is just make it a trigger. Make it a trigger which starts with breathing. So you may already be doing this in some way. You're like, oh, I'm so stressed out. Or you may sigh, or you may notice your breath in some way. So what I invite you to do to make this a, a, a trigger practice, whenever you're triggered in any way, your fear is triggered, your anger is triggered, you just notice that you're just captured by the ego mind, you can set up this practice. You can, strengthen those neural pathways, as they say, and make this a thing. And this helped me so much. It was such a huge part of my awakening to integrate that, because I noticed my mind falling back into stories. Even after having profound realizations and breakthroughs, I would just get back into something really small which would just kind of capture me, and I'm lost in those things. And then I'm like, I should really embody this through something. Like, what can I do to be really vigilant of the mind? And I have heard of vigilance and all this from amazing teachers like Papaji and Ramana Maharshi, talking about, oh, you should always question who am I and all that. But it was really hard to do, to even remember that. So I set up this thing in my mind that every time I'm stressed or anything, I'm going to just breathe. Just breathe. And as soon as I breathe, just doing that sets me up for the next stage. Right? I'm like, it may be any kind of thought. Like I've used it in any variety of situations. Any kind of thought. Like I'm like, oh, I'm feeling bad about this. Like, oh, I should just breathe. And just that breath brings this kind of energy. This expands my consciousness. And as soon as that expansion happens, I notice, oh my God, I've been stuck in this, I've been grasping onto this thing so obsessively, falling back into old patterns. And then I notice that, and I notice more and more, and I let go. Why am I even holding on to this? And it's immediately apparent from that heightened state of consciousness. It's apparent that I should not be holding on to this. So it becomes really natural for me to let go. So it's a natural series of things. That's why I called it a technique with air quotes, because it's not really a technique when you go to the base of it. It's just simply being. Ramana Maharshi, his most essential teaching, when he goes to the essence, of course he has this whole process of self-inquiry, asking yourself, who am I? Coming back to that again and again. But his most pith teaching is simply be. Chumma iru. Like he says in Tamil. Chumma iru. Simply be. Just be. Right? So my approach to just be, to make it more practical for myself, which worked really well, because it was really hard for my mind to grasp what is just be and how do I even get to just be. So it may involve more steps here, 3 steps and 3 words, but it gives you the structure, the deeper understanding, so that you can really embody it and make it a practice that you can trigger at any time, at any moment. Whether you're just walking, you're talking, you're eating, you're about to fall asleep, you can still practice this, and it can just remove that layer which you're holding on to, that filter upon your consciousness. It can clear away to reveal what is already here, which is enlightenment, which is the light of who you are. And yeah, basically this is how we hold on to all these different beliefs and different myths in our mind. So yes, if you want to go deeper and understand some of the major myths that we hold on to, I highly recommend watching this video next, that is on the screen, that is right here. And this will give you a deeper understanding of these myths and limiting beliefs that we hold on to without knowing. So if you go into this, you will understand them deeply and it can help you let go. Thank you for watching. Namaste. Mm-hmm.